He is very familiar with in his Grand Prix career. This is pole and number 3 on the first time he tasted race-winning Prosecco in the Premier class. And Bagnaia into this 14-lap sprint. It's lights out and we are racing in the sprint here. Corner, although he's a little bit hot though. Martin goes side by side as they swing towards the chicane.
Back on the inside of Bagnaia for the lead.
Is he getting a little bit hot entry? Is he going to compromise his deck on this first lap? Martin snakes the Prima Pama, the caddy sideways. He's holding on at the front here.
Speaking for turn 2, he's now back in 9th place, so he'd made up all the ground from his third row group position.
Bagnaia on the inside he goes. That's a good launch, a good raid on the inside of Martin's in a little bit.
Might as well join in on this. Bagnaia wanted to outbrake Martin into turn 1 but couldn't do it. Martin
getting in a little bit hot. He's in way hot, and this will allow Bagnaia surely to sweep back into the lead. Bagnaia and Marquez have over the field was evident from lap 1. They were already a second clear of a late.
Could not get that Ducati stopped into turn 2. We're watching the leading 2 in the sprint and in the chill, holding Bastianini back.
What you're seeing here is the hot conditions and concerns a bit early on. He's back now with Bagnaia as he powers through turn 8 over the blind crest, drop down the hill, down into turn 10, second gear, 100 kilometers an hour, then wind back up through those signal points, 782, nearly 4/10 clear of Martin as we head into lap 3.
And he was Marquez. The group behind them were all in the 29s. In fact, Espargaro did a second.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very closely looked at. Of course, the mistake at the start of lap Dick Salve's job on his weekend. Yesterday in FP1 on Friday morning, 2 crashes in the first 5, charges through the escape road, and now he has to have lost a second in that turn 2. Just clearly an indicator of how desperate he was to lead this sprint.
The 2 to lose that time, because there simply is no time to give up that time in the first sector, because he'd already on that last lap with his personal best. Bagnaia back down into the 29s. The gap between them is exactly
1. Martin slightly quicker with the 129 flat, but Marquez 6/10 of a second, searching for 2 or 3 tenths per lap, he says, in main Grand Prix on Sundays, but he made
a bit of progress on that last lap. He passed both Paul Espargaro and Brad Binder, so 2 of the 3 KTMs that we see track limits warnings on our timing screens, but at the moment no penalties being applied for all.
The 2 crashes. He hates this Red Bull ring circuit. It just does not suit his riding style at Aragon, his beloved Barcelona, but 4th place has been some job by Alex Espargaro. We're on board now. Martin exchanged 129 flats. Marquez has dropped his pace by 3/10 of a second.
On Paul Espargaro, KTM versus KTM, and this time Binder did find a way through on Paul.
Frankie Morbidelli in 6th place. He had a fantastic Friday yesterday, celebrating his switch from the best pace. He's half a second clear of Enea Bastianini, who's really struggling to regroup.
Up to Pecco Bagnaia. We remind you, if you put the flag out now in this Tissot sprint, Pecco Bagnaia into tomorrow's Austrian Grand Prix, but Bagnaia would lead the championship by virtue of his superior Sunday.
He said in the pre-event press conference on Thursday, got to sort his Saturdays out. He's in the last 15 sprints, he's taken just 4 podiums. Flip that over to Jorge Martin. He's doing a pretty top job of it. Jorge Martin has got a long lap penalty, so Martin then has to come through the long lap penalty loop.
Yeah, the long lap penalty on when you break for the first corner. That will put him behind Marquez and somewhere near a lane. But that has put paid to any hopes Jorge Martin had of winning today's Tissot sprint.
Yeah, he'll be hurting with the long lap penalty to come his way. He'll certainly drop him back behind Marquez, possibly as little 129.3s maxed by Jorge Martin. Post flick, it's so aggressive. Point attacking then hard now on the front end into the chicane. The chicane will just cost.
He'd gone through turn 1 once, so either on the next lap or on lap 9 he will have long lap penalties. So a tricky position now for Jorge Martin, because he wants to try and chase Bagnaia. He obviously wants to.
3, we know it's lagging behind in terms of outright performance compared to the upgraded GP. So he's got to be careful himself about track limits warnings. Marco Pezzecchi, Ralph Hernandez. He might be further back down the field. Jack Miller started in P5, holding that P5 ahead of Frankie Morbidelli.
He does indeed. I think he's to come through ahead of Alex Espargaro. It's a tight long lap, but he's got back in ahead of the Aprilia.
My aging memory is pretty rubbish. He's not getting any better. But didn't Martin crash practice?
Well, you say, yeah, he crashed trying to practice that on the Sunday morning, so he's becoming rather too familiar with the 2.5 seconds behind Marquez, so he's going to have to pull out something truly heroic to even.
Marquez on course what will be his 6th second place finish in a T-Station to turn 9. Surely he's not going to be able to bridge that 1.6 second deficit to Bagnaia dropped down to a 129.6. Marquez is the 129.7 seconds.
Yeah, and he's not exactly pulled clear of Alex Espargaro after he served that long lap penalty. So up in the distance into turn 3, Marquez, and he can't even see Pecco Bagnaia anymore, who, as it stands,
it's going to chop and change, isn't it, throughout the remainder of this season. We're at the halfway point. There's a bad look now. Miller just in a little bit hot, stressing that medium front tyre down at the moment. Well, the last point on offer goes to Marco Bezzecchi in 9th. He's just taken that 9th place away. Go through to Q2 for the first time this season. He's in 12th place. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Bess.
A little bit of a distant 8th at the moment, just off the back of this tree. You can see him there just in the back of the picture. It's a pretty pull move on the inside of Frankie Morbidelli. Bastianini leaving.
Oh, the aero.
That was an impatient move.
Yes, the beast. You kind of.
I think Marc Marquez was down there. We need Marquez out of second place.
Marc Marquez has crashed at turn 3. Just we were looking at the replays. This could be, well, it's his 3rd crash now in the last 4 sprints. He dumped it in Assen.
Long lap penalty, so it's suddenly fallen back into his lap once again. The damage has been cancelled out. He'd offered Aleix Espargaro a sprint podium on Super Saturday in Austria. He wouldn't have believed.
It's clear of Jorge Martin. You feel that maybe he didn't really need to be Aleix Espargaro. Crikey, he needs to buy a lottery ticket, don't he? Because he has dragged himself out of it. Well, he would have been laughed out of the paddock, wouldn't you? Aleix Espargaro then, a gift. Marc Marquez, it will be. I think it's warning as Marquez rather frustratingly filters back into the pits. And what this means is that we said that in Barcelona, didn't we? When he crashed on the final lap. Pecco Bagnaia
3 seconds clear of Jack Miller. Miller's got Bastianini for company, and I guess he won't be reflecting, I guess, on a pretty costly crash there from second place, because in terms of the world place.
Yeah, you feel like it's rather rapidly developing into a 2-horse race for Tyre. A bit of breathing space for him in terms of 3rd overall in the rankings at the moment. Bastianini on Jack Miller. 2 3/4 laps to go here in Austria for him to do it. By Miller, 4th place at the moment. He's been harassed and pressured throughout by Bastianini.
2.5 laps, because his pace has now dropped off to a 1:30.7. The fastest rider, 2:47 last time around. He was a half a second quicker than the train that is being led by his teammate Jack Miller. As long as he stays within track limits, which he does indeed, Bastianini is now up into 4th place.
Having started in 7th place on the grid. So now it's Miller versus Morbidelli. More 2A section. Binder's having a look here. Yeah, running wide in turn 1. It meant that Morbidelli just lost all of it. Using a bit of Ducati grunt up the hill into turn 3. Finds a way back through. Rivera got a half a second back to Pedro Acosta. That's come down now to just under 4/10 of a...
Take advantage of that mistake from Morbidelli, because he could see a potential 4th place up the road. I think that will have got in 4th and 5th. Bastianini will surely have that one sewn up, had it not been traffic.
Here we go then. Last lap for Pecco Bagnaia. Bagnaia was at the front when Martin made the crucial, the pivotal 1 second that he needed to in that sector. The long lap penalty then dropped him to 3rd. Lap where he's entered the pits and retired. So a miserable weekend for Augusto Fernandez. Alex Fritz is going to find himself back in familiar territory here. The number 1 on the factory account.
Whether Martin would have been able to have any answer for Bagnaia in the latter part of this sprint, even without the long lap penalty. He promoted after the crash for Marc Marquez, and they will be level heading into tomorrow's Austrian Grand Prix.
From the world champion, Pecco Bagnaia steals the headlines once again, who rides through the pain barrier. An injury to his left thumb sees him 2nd yesterday, takes a sprint podium.